odds are if you're getting into music, the idea of becoming rich and famous is the end goal. That's really what you're trying to achieve, is to solidify your legacy in the entire world of music. And I'd say that's a pretty understandable goal. However, that is how history remembers you on the broad scale, as far as being on the level of Taylor Swift or Prince or something. It doesn't really matter that much. I mean, it does, but not for the purposes that most of us believe it does. Um, what those people have done, obviously, the artists that we love, from rock to country to R&B, blues, everything, they'll always hold a special place in all of our hearts. But if you ask any of them that most people have the utmost respect for, even they'll tell you that what drove them, it was something deeper than just fame and fortune. It was a calling. It was something within them that was drawing them to this path. And I honestly think it's pretty unhealthy. Even myself being, I've definitely been guilty of this, most of the time, just trying to use that as a standard of success and as a metric for success. And if I'm being completely honest, from the past 5 years or so that I've been playing, I did not think I would be this happy at this level. Like, I didn't think that I would have met the people I've met and done the things that I've done just from playing country covers, I think the moment that I kind of removed my ego from the situation and really said to myself, listen, if you can just spend time on a stage, Kenny, the majority of your time on a stage making some kind of money, that's pretty good life right there, And once I accepted that and did it, I got way more experiences and human connection and self-reflection out of it than I thought I was ever going to get. And I gotta say, I've been very fortunate, because I know it's not everyone's experience, the experience that I've had. But I have been very fortunate to meet a lot of great people. And also, I've met some people that I probably shouldn't have been associated with for as long as I have. And people that kind of, hurt me in ways that I didn't think was cool. But even then, I'm grateful for those people, in a way, I hope that whatever path they're on will lead them down a better road. But, I try not to speak ill of that. But all of the experiences that I've had just from being a cover artist and just from really being serious about, like, I want to play music for a living in whatever capacity possible, it's really changed my life for the better. Now, granted, I'm not where I want to be. I don't want to be playing covers forever, just at these bars and stuff like that. I want to eventually move on to just going on the road for my own stuff, and I'm working on that. But I have learned so much about myself and so much about the world and so much about life simply because I think what really changed it for me was that I put my goals and my dreams and ambitions, the posture of my heart changed into a posture of service as opposed to just something that was about me. When I said, you know what, I'm good enough at playing bass, and I'm good enough at singing. Let's just do what most people want me to do, which is play the hits and see where it leads. And it's been very fulfilling. And if you would have asked me at 15 or 16 if, I thought I'd see the places I've seen and met the people I've met, I would not have believed. I would have been like, no, I'm not going. Like, how would I get to those places if I wasn't this and that and everything? And the answer is very simple. It's like, I made it about something bigger than me. I relegated myself to being a part of something. And kind of removing myself from the center of it. And I think honestly, that's, for me anyways, that's what I really needed. Because it reminds me that, the goal of my life, as much as I want to pursue happiness and want to pursue comfortability and financial freedom and all these things, the goal of my life isn't just to service myself. My goal in my life is to be used by the world, is to be used by, people that need my skills. And I think that understanding that and actually seeing the reward and putting myself second and putting, the focus on me to the side in attempt to actually be useful to society as a whole, it changed everything. It literally, my life from 2020, it went from being the worst that it had ever been to just the best that it had ever been in a matter of months. And I didn't think it was possible. Now, that's not to say that it didn't come with its fair share of struggles and relationships that I messed up, the relationships that other people messed up, and, just this general sense of harsh self-criticism all the time. But it's also given me enough reason to kind of give myself a break on those things and to grow. Because without that break and without that grace, I wouldn't have the space and the time to learn and grow myself as a human, not only in my personal life, but in my professional life, in my songwriting life. And I think the point of all of what I'm trying to say is the thing that I benefited the most from my life or the moment that I benefited the most from is when I realized that none of this, that I'm just a part of this world. I'm not the center of it. And I've always been aware of that. I've always tried to emulate that and tried to be someone that embodies that reality. But I fail. I fail. I have failed. I continue to fail in certain aspects. But I'm trying to get better. And without the experiences that I've had from humbling myself and from just being willing to be used by the world for something bigger than me, it's put me more in a position to where I can appreciate whatever happens. And that's really the goal of any good life, is one whose joy and one whose sense of self and one whose, ideas of the world aren't based simply on getting what I want when I want it, but actually understanding that one day I'm going to die. One day I'm going to be gone from this world. And the only thing that'll matter at that moment is everything I had left behind. The life that I will leave. And what kind of life was it? And no matter how many people will mourn that death, the more important thing is that thought, in those last moments, is that it was something that was worth the effort. And it was an effort that I was proud to make and an effort that I don't regret making. All right. And, that's really the point of any pursuit in life. All we have really is just time. That's all we really have in our possession. And I think what we do with that time and why we do the things we do with that time are very important. And music is no different than that. And just because most of us won't get famous from this and most of us won't, chart on the billboards or whatever, doesn't mean that it's not worth our time doing it. Because the thing that we collectively build as these musicians, these unknowns, these no names, we're building a community. We're building connection, There are going to be people in small towns that will hear your song and actually relate to it. And even if it's just a couple of thousand over the course of your entire career, it doesn't change the fact that people felt validated by your music. You know, whenever I was at high school, I had a lot of, self-image issues, and my, growing up in a divorce, household, with my mom, God bless her, trying her best to play provider and, maternal parent, I still felt, because of the absence of my father, there was an absence of love there. And I had all these negative feelings and emotions that, it didn't make sense to me. And then just listening to bands like Linkin Park, who, they had a lot of those same emotions and they put it in their music. And while some people would say that's very negative and you shouldn't expose yourself to that, for me, I really benefited from it because it made me feel like I wasn't the only one feeling those things. And ever since then, that's all I've really wanted to do with my music, is to make that connection. No matter how many people actually listen to it and make the connection themselves or feel connected through it, just that it's made, And I'm happy to say that I do see the parts, or I do see the people, that have reached out to me and, my Instagram and, said, I really like your music. That alone, just knowing that I've been heard, that the pain, or the songs that were wrought out of the pain of life, that came through because of that, someone saw that. And I feel seen in a way. And if you can do that just one time, that's really what this is all about. That's success. Now, I'd be lying if I said that I didn't want to get famous as a result, because that would be great. Or if I didn't want to get rich or successful, that'd be awesome. But at the end of my life, those connections are the things I'm going to remember more than how much money I have in my account or how many awards, that I've won, or any of those things. And, I hope if you're watching this, I hope that's what you'll make it about too. Don't hold yourself to this impossible standard. It's not fair, to think that if you're not, touring the world, packing out arenas, that you're not actually successful. If you've made a human connection, if your song has connected with just one person, you're doing your job. You did your job, and you should feel good about that. And you're always getting better. Don't ever feel like, just because you don't like your stuff now, if that's how you feel about it, that's not going to change, because it will. It will over time. The more you do something, the better you get at it. And so keep going. Keep doing it. Don't make it about, obviously grow, obviously challenge yourself to be better, but don't just make it about the surface level things. There's a lot more you're going to get out of this, and I myself am very grateful to say that I have gotten a lot more out of it than I ever thought. And I want to keep doing it, even though I'm stressed a lot of the time, and even though I'm always running around, it feels like, and sometimes it feels like I can't ever catch my breath. Just doing it and making that connection. When I'm on that stage and I'm making that connection with people and I'm bringing them in and I'm giving them a moment just to forget about everything else that's going on in their lives, that's it. That's the whole reason. That's what puts me on the road for 8 hours at a time. That's what, is making me load in, and get set up on stage and try to get better and practice on my own time. It's those moments. It's those things, And I think that if that is your mindset going into this, that you are meant to be used, and that whatever the world gives back to you as a result of that, you're going to be thankful for, there's really no way you can lose. There's really no way you can fail. So